Hey there, it's Vashti Sarah. Welcome back to Post Blog. If this is your first time listening, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like button, follow button, share button, all the buttons to stay connected with the Post Blog podcast. And for those of you who this is not your first time, welcome back. All right, now we're back with part 3, and we're wrapping up this series with Ariel Montgomery talking about all things mom. If you've missed the past 2 episodes, she talks about what it's like being a new mom, and then the second part was her birth story. Highly recommend going back and listening to those episodes. And today, this episode, we're specifically focusing on keeping authentic to herself, and an encouragement to women who are new moms not to lose themselves, to keep themselves a priority, keep their marriage, their spouse a priority, their mental, emotional, physical health, even their spiritual health a priority despite being a mom. So Ariel, thank you once again for committing to this series. And yeah, it's just always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited about this topic.
So how have you kept marriage well, no, actually, let's backtrack. Let's not talk about marriage just yet. How have you kept you a priority? And you are a new mom, but still, like, I think it's important because I believe even when you're 6 months in, a year in, and you can go back and think about what you said here, and it'd be a reminder, you know, like, hey, I need to keep myself a priority. So how are you currently keeping yourself a priority?
Yeah, I mean, from what I have heard from other moms, like these early days are kind of the 24/7 slave days. So this is like a really difficult time to navigate that. So in my vast experience at 2.5 months postpartum, there are a few things that have been really, really wonderful. So one of those things is my mindset about, again, this is all a touchy subject, but this is a touchy subject. My mindset about my baby's schedule. My husband and I spent a lot of time observing other parents and how they do things, and then like praying and talking about what our approach would be based off of what we saw around us and, you know, what we thought was working and not working, et cetera. And one of the things that we have decided our approach is going to be is that we're going to bring our baby into our schedule as much as possible. And as much as possible, we are not going to totally navigate our schedules around the baby's schedule. I hope that makes sense. So on a practical level, this early on, that means that though it is easier for me sometimes to, you know, be in my own house in my bedroom breastfeeding Darius at like 9 p.m. and unwinding for the night for him. If there's like a social event or a date night or an outing that we want to go to that we think will be good for us and good for me socially, good for my soul, then we bring the baby along and we just deal with the later night. And there are some hard things that come with that, but we've chosen to embrace that hard part in order to continue to live a full life. For us, that also practically meant like I took him camping 2 weeks postpartum.
Yeah, I saw that.
I took him camping. I took him camping a month postpartum. So I know that's pretty unusual. But we made the decision, if I felt physically able, that we were going to live our life. And we love to camp in the summer. And we decided we were just going to bring the baby. And so for me, like continuing to live fully, that means some difficulties, like you're choosing a hard thing to have a good thing. And so there's some hardship and some like discomfort that comes with toting your baby around in the wilderness, but there's a greater reward when you choose that hard thing. And so that's a huge part of our approach that has made like the past couple months seem so wonderful for me and given me a ton of hope for the future. So that's a big part of like our theory and our approach. And that's just how we're going to do life. Like we're going to tote our kids around and we're going to, you know, if we want to have friends over late, like we're not going to send our friends home at 7 o'clock because it's the kids' bedtime. Like we are going to live our life, and I might have a grumpy baby for a couple hours. And if I find that enjoying community and being with friends is a healthier thing for me. I know that if I'm healthy and if I am in community and if I am doing some of the things I'm passionate about, then my baby will experience the ripple effect of that.
Yeah.
And he will have a healthier life with a healthy mom. So
yeah. And I think immediately saying that, it might come across as selfish because it's, oh, well, you're not putting the baby's sleep schedule, as a priority, or you're having him out there when he should be in bed as a priority. But I like that you ended it with, no, but if I'm healthy, he gets a better version of me.
Yeah. And there's a fine line, you know, like,
absolutely.
I also think there is a level, like I see like a level of selfishness in ways people can parent. This is like, to me, more of like a practical issue. And I think people they get like kind of psycho about their baby's schedule. And I've seen it in a lot of my friends. And I think it kind of actually comes down to a value system. And like, what do you value? What do you want your kiddo to see you value? Do you want your kid to see mom and dad in community, living life and having rich godly relationships and, being to be really awesome about your bedtime and your schedule and your routine. And there's beauty in that as well. But our value system is probably a little like, just for us, it's a bigger picture thing. I get the other perspective as well, but this is just how we've chosen to do it. So it's pretty exciting for us. And, another big way that I have been able to take care of myself and it is through fitness. So I did not give myself the excuse during pregnancy to just throw it all away. Although I did eat a good amount of cake in the second trimester and I thoroughly enjoyed every bite. But one of the things that has given me a ton of life and has really helped this whole process is taking care of myself. And, I definitely have less judgment and more understanding for moms who talk about how hard it is to work out. Like I understand that now. Like it is hard. It's hard. But again, you choose your hard because the reward is really great. And I'm doing like a 15-minute workout at 11 p.m. in my bedroom in the corner. Or it means that I'm cramming it in between breastfeeding and, you make time for it. And for me, getting back to fitness and to movement and to taking care of myself has been really, really helpful for my mental health and how I feel postpartum. It's been really, really, really good for me.
So what would you say you've done to keep your marriage a priority?
Oh wait, I do want to backtrack on that.
Oh yeah,
what we
go
were
for
just
it.
Talking about is also finding mom friends. That's something I've been really trying to do is surround myself with other moms who are positive about mothering.
Wow.
So that's a note.
That's the key. I want to make.
Finding moms that love being a mom has been incredibly empowering for me. So that's something I would just throw out there. So for marriage, man, this topic I'm so passionate about and I get so excited about, probably way more than the self-care topic. Like I just honestly, I'm so passionate about having a good marriage. And one of the reasons why I was kind of nervous to have a baby was because I love my marriage so much. And I love my husband so much. We have so much fun together. It's just been a massive blessing in my life. And so I was nervous and you just don't know what you don't know. So I was like, how, and frankly, Vashti, I've seen a lot of my friends have these awesome marriages and then they have babies and I've watched my girlfriends just kind of dry up and I've watched them start to talk down to their husbands and kind of like to become mom and only mom, but like forget that they're a wife too. And I've watched it happen so many times. Thankfully, I've found these pockets of gold marriages where it does not happen. And I look to those people and I watch them and observe and take notes. And so there is hope and it can be done. So when Joe and I talked about having babies, we discussed a lot about like, how are we going to stay intentional in our relationship?
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to navigate the way it will change? What things are we going to do? And one of the things that we committed to early on, even when we were just dating, was a weekly date night.
Yeah.
That has been just the best thing for us, the highlight of our week. We have it on Wednesdays. So Wednesdays are great because, you're just usually kind of exhausted from the work week and, it's not over yet.
It resets you for the end of the week. Yeah.
You get through the rest of the week. And so anyway, that works out great. And then you have a baby, right? So one of the things that I was hit with when we had our baby was just like, oh my gosh, it is a lot harder to find a babysitter than, Joe and I were like, oh yeah, we're just going to hire a babysitter and we're going to make it happen. It's going to be no big deal. And it is a big deal. Finding a babysitter is really difficult.
Yeah.
Finding someone you trust is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Budgeting for it, like it's not an easy thing for us anyways. We also don't have like all these relatives in the area who can watch our baby anytime we want. Like it's just us out here, and like Joe's family's willing to, but they live a few hours away. So it's just kind of like, it's not an easy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you choose your heart, and we have decided we're committed to date night. We need this for our relationship. And so a month postpartum, I had to start texting people and I had to do the work to find someone. You have to awkwardly ask and you have to put yourself out there. And we found a babysitter and we have a date night and it's the best thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a big way. I'm going to be really blunt. For mamas postpartum, like facing your fear once you're healed and getting back to having sex is a big one. Again, everyone's healing situations differently. So this is unique to each individual. But I do know, and I've heard, and I experienced myself that even though I was healed, I was terrified. Because you just like birthed a baby, right?
Yeah.
So your body feels different, and you're terrified that it's going to hurt when you start having sex again. And I just like really, for us, like I encourage other moms to like face that fear as soon as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Don't keep putting that off in your marriage, and get back to having sex with your husband. Like you're going to be okay, and deal with whatever comes with that physically.
Yeah.
We, and before we were able to, I hope this isn't too blunt. I just,
you're
blunt about it.
You're good.
It's just real life. So before we were able to have sex again while I was still healing, one of the things that really helped us was I just was like, babe, we need to just cuddle, So we like made time to cuddle and you just stay like the early days, you're kind of just like a milk machine. And I totally understand and get now how moms feel like they're just like, you kind of just feel like, you feel like you're just like only a mom and your husband gets home and you're like, am I even a wife anymore?
Wow.
I don't even feel like, I definitely felt that. And I was like, wow, I don't even feel like a wife anymore. And so I had to communicate. I had to tell my husband, hey, I feel like a grubby little milk machine. Like I need you to like hold me and kiss me and hug me.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. And so we just made that part of our day. And I had to physically, and I still have to choose to set my little goober down in the corner, not be holding him for a few minutes. Joe gets home and I try to hug Joe. I hold him, I look him in the eye, and I'm just his wife for a few moments. And that connection is really powerful for us. And it keeps that intimacy there. So it's interesting. Like, I also understand how moms can kind of throw themselves only into being obsessed with the baby and the husband gets the back burner a little bit, because babies, it's instant gratification. Your new baby, oh my gosh, like they love you, like you're their everything 24/7. You feel good about yourself around your baby.
Yeah.
Like it's just a 24/7, like my baby loves me. And it's like the easiest thing. With a husband, you may not always feel that way. And you don't have that amazing new instant gratification feeling with your husband that you do with your baby. And so it's a decision to put this wonderful little bundle of joy down and go and connect with your husband and work for it, because your husband's going to be there forever and your baby is going to fly away in 18 years. And so,
wow.
Yeah. And then like other things, I could talk about it forever, but yeah, we really, we really put a lot of effort into this, and it's something we really care about, and it's really paid off, and it's really been awesome for us. And just like showering, like getting dressed and like being sexy, like putting on something hot for my husband and like, and for myself, like feeling good and, you know, like just staying wifely, even though you may not feel it all the time. Like loosen up, like do fun things with your husband still, like do activities, bring your baby along, like loosen up and get out of like that only 24/7 mom brain and remember that you're a wife. And one of the things we're also going to do as soon as we can is we're going to sleep train. And I know that's a topic that there's a lot of different opinions on, but for me, like, listen, my kids, I love them. My baby, I adore him. I love our nighttime feeds. I love having him next to me. So this isn't that I don't like it. I do love it.
Yeah.
But the bed is going to be for me and my husband.
Wow.
And my husband and his place in my bed is going to come first. And the bed is going to be a special place for us forever. And so love my baby, but as soon as it's, you know, safe, I am excited to train the little guy to sleep in a different room. And I'm not going to have, and when he gets older, we're going to have a lock on our door. Like the bed is for my husband. I'm not going to have kids like taking my husband's spot in the bed. I'm not going to have, like, it's going to be a sacred and special thing forever, because my marriage will always come first, period. And so that's something that we have decided, and it's taken effort, you know, it's not like a natural thing all the time, but yeah, it's just been a really good learning experience.
I love it, Ariel. And I see it on social media. I see how you are prioritizing, you know, God first, then your spouse, and then your child. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's plenty of opinions out there, and that's fine. But I love how you're honoring that. I don't want to say tier, but that the way God designed things, you know, love God, love your spouse, love your children. And you guys are honoring that 100%. And, you know, I aspire to walk in your footsteps whenever I become a mom, because I want to not forget myself, because I see so many of my friends do that. I want to not forget to dress sexy and, you know, go on date nights and, you know, dress up, even if I don't feel like it. But at the same time, I have to understand that that won't happen if I don't actively implement that right now in our marriage, where there are nights like last night, I felt so crappy. And my husband was like, well, do you want to go to the gym or do you not want to go to the gym? And I had to make up my mind, you know, I don't care if I feel crappy. I'm going to wear my nice gym tight, sexy clothing, and I will make myself feel, you know,
just do it.
Yeah. And just do it. Even if I don't do a hard hit workout, I still do something. And you practice just that mentality of, even though it's difficult, I will keep on keeping on. And you know, you're doing exactly that, where it's, you might, in those pictures, you might not have felt confident. I mean, who knows the backstory behind it, but you dressed up, you got sexy for your man, and you went on a date, you know?
Yeah. It's mind over matter, you know? And I think also with like taking care of yourself too, it's an extensive topic that you could do a whole podcast on, but, you know, I work hard. Like, yes, there is the element of genetics, and I'm as always, will always be honest. Like, I'm a small person. I have a petite mom. There are some genetics in play for people with certain like physical attributes and athleticism. However, I work really hard to be healthy, and I think one of the things that really helps postpartum is, you know, man, it is a weird time. Like, you are a milk machine and you're tired and your body's different. But man, when I got back into just little like physical therapy movements and light workouts when I was cleared by my physical therapist, like I started to feel better immediately. And it affects also how you feel around your husband.
Wow.
And it affects how you feel sexually and all of that. And so when I'm active and I'm taking, that 12 minutes a day or that 30 minutes a day in between breastfeeding to do a little workout in my living room, I feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a better wife. I'm a better mom. I have more energy. Like there's so much to that. And it's just like, your husband didn't ask for you to all of a sudden not have any energy and not be able to do activities with him. And, he wants you to still be able to hang out and live life with him. And part of that means like being healthy and taking care of yourself and getting active. And so it's a huge priority because it's not just about me, like it's about my husband, not because my husband's some pig who wants me to look like a supermodel. My husband loves me in all the seasons. That's who he is, and that's how he'll always be. But because he wants to live a full and healthy life with me. And my baby, I have this son who's probably going to grow up to be like my husband, which means he's going to be a giant athlete. And I want to be able to hang out with him and do things with him for the rest of my life. And so all of this stuff comes full circle, like taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, is a way to love your husband, to love your kids, and to love yourself. So it's not just about you. It's a bigger picture. And I've really seen the fruit of that. I've really, really been able to enjoy that. It's been a big blessing.
Yeah.
So,
well, I love that.
Yeah.
So now, how would you say you've navigated to prioritize your mental, emotional, and you talked a little bit about your physical health, finding time, carving out time to place that in there. But how have you navigated through that? Or not navigated, but prioritized your mental and emotional health and physical health?
Yeah. Yeah. So I already addressed like the physical health, well, I saw a physical therapist immediately. So that's a practical thing that I would super advise is go to a physical therapist and learn about your pelvic floor and all that good stuff. Practical advice. And then also you do not have to wait till you're 6 weeks postpartum. That's a myth.
Okay. I didn't know that either. Wow.
It's such a myth. I went to my physical therapist 10 days or 2 weeks postpartum.
Yeah.
And got tiny, gentle movements that you can literally do while you're laying in bed.
Wow.
To start your rehab.
Yeah.
So that's something I would tell you, like, get on that immediately. And it'll be great. But yeah, mental and spiritual. Let's see here. Still figuring that out.
Okay.
I mean, it's just, a lot of it's mindset. I feel really healthy in those areas because I'm just like taking each day as it comes, I guess. I'm trying to make this practical. I'm not like, I'm laughing at the hard things in a sense. Like I'm not allowing like days where maybe I didn't sleep well, or I'm like, oh my gosh, I really don't know what to do in this situation. I don't allow those things to derail me or freak me out.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of headspace during the day, and I'm able to have a clear mind, and I'm able to have a clear head. And because I'm not all anxious and freaked out, and I'm choosing to just enjoy this process, it makes me feel a lot more social. It makes me feel a lot more, I think social, and then I have a clear mind. So I've been able to get back to hanging out with friends. Joe and I are trying to be super intentional with connecting more with our church community.
Yeah.
For me, it's conversations with other moms, like just connecting with people. Being outside is a huge way I take care of my mental health. So even if I can't do something super fun, I take my little chunk on a walk every single day. So we do probably like an hour walk. And that has been really, really good for my mind. I've been listening to podcasts, the Vashti Sarah podcast. I listen to worship music all day long.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's mindset. Like I've just had a really, chosen a really peaceful approach, and it's really caused me to have a clearer mind and enjoy my time. So.
Yeah. Well,
is that helpful?
Yes, it is absolutely helpful. And I think it's more of an encouragement to women because, and that leads into this next question would be, what is your advice to moms who have forgotten who they are? And obviously it's prioritizing your mental, emotional, and physical health, which you gave, practical tips to do that. But if outside of that, what other advice do you have for moms who are in that position?
Yeah. Yes, I definitely have like a thought about this. We talked about this concept a little bit in the first podcast, but Philippians 2:14, man, do everything without complaining or arguing, first of all. But so, your question was, moms who've forgotten who they are. And I think some of that is a cultural lie. And it's a topic that I kind of cringe over. I hear moms like, I feel like I've, lost myself, or, when you leave your career and you stay home with your baby, and there's like this, kind of a negative light.
Yep.
So I don't want to discredit that women really feel that. And I absolutely felt and struggle sometimes feeling like, what do I do? Like, what's my MO right now?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Okay. I'm a mom. What did I do today? I breastfed and I changed diapers. Like, okay, I guess this is my thing. When you come from like
accomplishing so much,
real estate or corporate jobs, you're doing all these things. Oh, okay. I like change diapers all day. So I get that like struggle and I felt it. But man, again, it's a mindset thing. And so my encouragement to moms, new mamas, like step up to the plate, ignore culture's kind of lowly opinion of motherhood, completely disregard and ignore that. And understand that this is the coolest, most powerful thing you could ever spend your time on in your life. And you're hearing from someone like, I am not the girl who spent years of her life daydreaming about motherhood. That is not me. This isn't like, I'm a mother. This is all I've ever wanted to do. Like, that wasn't me. It wasn't. And man, when I became a mom, the sense of calling and purpose and strength that I feel, I'm like, first of all, I respect other moms more than ever before in my life. Moms are so strong. Secondly, this is the coolest thing I will ever spend my time on.
Yeah.
Period. And so if you feel like, man, I don't know who I am, like take a step back and look at this little creature in front of you and praise God that he gave this baby to you to love and care for. And you do the work to remind yourself every single day that insecurity or struggle with identity, that's just an attack from the enemy on your mind. And it's a lie of culture. And you are doing the most important, incredible, strong thing you've ever done in your life.
Yeah.
And choose to do it without complaining or arguing. And I think the other thing that, it's not maybe like what people want to hear in response to this question, but it's just not about you. And so, you have a season where you are working your butt off and you're taking care of a baby and you're getting puked on all day. It's not about you, and it's not going to be glamorous all the time. And like, let it go. Trust God, trust the season. And remember, like as my husband says, this too shall pass. So like the newborn days are a season, when you have a toddler, it'll be a season. And just remember, like when you were working your career, and the job that you are going to do again, or are still doing, or whatever it looks like for you, ultimately that's not supposed to be about you either. Right. So we're all in this, with a heart to serve God, to walk out what he's called us to do. And if you have a baby in front of you, I don't think it gets any clearer than that this is who you are right now. You are his mother, and you have been a wife. You're a wife. So throw your heart and soul into being the best wife and mom you can be right now. And don't just throw yourself into it like you did with your career, or like you did with, that ministry or nonprofit you started. Throw yourself into being a wife and a mom. Become an expert at it, and become grateful and full of joy that you get to do this.
Yeah.
And God's going to bless that. He will absolutely bless that. And you will struggle less with that sense of losing yourself, and you'll feel more found because you're doing what you're called to do.
Yeah.
In this time. That makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yes. So I do have one question, because I don't know if this is also a cultural lie, or it's dependent on the type of person, or if it's dependent on a mindset.
Yeah.
But have you struggled with postpartum depression? If you have, how did you navigate around it, or how are you navigating around it? And to basically encourage women, if they're at that place, if you haven't struggled with postpartum depression, is it because, your body's wired differently? Is it because you believe you made certain steps to avoid that? Is it a personal choice? And again, I feel like this is also a touchy topic.
It is.
But
absolutely.
I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, it's something I'll tread lightly with, and I can only share my perspective because I'm not an expert. So, I actually was on antidepressants for like 4 years, and I yanked myself off of them in my second month of pregnancy.
Yeah.
I did not advise going about it that way. I was pretty drastic. But I was like, oh, I don't want to be on these. I have a baby in me. So I stopped taking them after 4 years. So, I get that. I get it. So that bigger picture, another podcast, definitely do not think I should have been on them that long. Definitely think I was done a disservice with my medication.
Wow.
And that is something I've come to learn and had clarity on. Thank God. And I just, this to me is more of a miracle. I did not suffer a lot of crazy consequences getting myself off of them that quickly. So that was kind of wild. But because of that, I had a very real fear that I would have postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And, and you are more prone, they say you're more prone to have it if you've, been on medications in the past, or you've struggled with it in the past. So, so I was pretty fearful. Not pretty fearful, a little fearful. And I've not struggled with it, thank God. And, I will say, not being an expert, but if you do some research, there are some statistics and some research that shows that PPD can be linked to how you gave birth.
Okay.
And I would look into how the drugs that you take in labor, how that affects the mom emotionally and mentally afterward, and her ability to connect with the baby and to think clearly.
Yeah.
When I learned about that, it was another reason for me not to induce and not to get an epidural.
Yeah.
Because I did not want to deal with the emotional aftermath of what the drugs could cause. And so I would look into that if you're a mama who's worried about that. And if you are struggling with postpartum depression, maybe take like an honest look at how your birth was and how that may be affecting you. And so I'm really grateful for that. I think I do also think, and this is someone, who has struggled with anxiety and depression, like some of that is also mindset, and how could it not be? And so, how your birth was can affect it.
Yeah.
And your mindset. And, man, culture just sucks sometimes. I don't know how else. It's just heartbreaking. I think there's been such a massive robbery of the joy of what this all could be.
Yep.
And having a baby, the process of birth and the aftermath, like it is a joy. And I don't want to harp on, I understand where this gal was coming from, but I had a girl DM me, I think it was like right before I had the baby. I can't remember the timing, but she was like, just so you know, like motherhood is really, really dark.
Wow.
And really hard. Yeah. Yeah. And I know that she sent that with a really sweet intention. Like her heart was to, cause I'm pretty, like, we can handle anything. I'm pretty determined. Right.
Yeah.
And that probably comes across pretty clearly. So that's my personality. And, and so she probably felt like she needed to warn me, and I get it. And, but to have her describe it that way, man. And then I went and had my baby and I was like, no, man, that's your experience. Like it is not, it doesn't have to be, it's not dark. And it's a absolute blessing. And so, that's a complicated topic. I do believe that how you gave birth can affect the aftermath. I believe that, it's also just, if you can embrace this season for all that it is and look at your baby and say, this is what I am called to do here now. And if you can find support, and I think that's another factor with postpartum depression, is like your marriage, your community, like get yourself around good people. It will help. And that's my feedback for that.
Wow.
So, and I know it's a hard one. This too shall pass also.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you're not going to be a new mom forever.
Right. And I don't want to compare apples to oranges, but I feel like whenever I got married, or even before I got married, I had some friends with good intentions, and people would DM as well. After the honeymoon phase, it gets hard, enjoy the sex now because, y'all aren't going to have sex after a year in, or, and then like, even right now I had someone ask me a week or two ago, so, is the honeymoon phase over yet?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. Are we Christians supporting Christians, encouraging healthy marriages, or are we just waiting for people to fail? Like,
oh man. Yeah.
And I know I'm comparing completely different things, but I feel like it just keeps going with every season you transition into. It's, hey, just wait until it gets hard.
No, you're comparing similar things. And quite frankly, I have been nervous this entire podcast because I know that there's going to be women who listen to this who are going to say, oh, just wait till he's a toddler. Oh, just wait. Ariel, like they're going to roll their eyes and they're going to be like, oh, she's so, just wait till he's older.
Oh, you're just 2.5 months in.
Let me sit down and share my life story with you.
Right.
And let me tell you that it is not that I have not walked through hard things.
Absolutely.
I am very aware that life can be hard.
Yep.
And I have experienced that. And I'm also aware of the power of God in my life, the faithfulness of God, and the choice to have a life that is full of joy, that is full of hope, and that God gives us the grace and he enables us to have a rich and full life through hard things.
Right.
And there's hard things in marriage and there's hard things with your baby, but since when, like I signed up to be a Christian, and part of what I signed up for is that I have hope. I have endless hope and I have endless grace. And with having babies and marriage, there is grace and there's a new start, and there's his mercies are new every morning. And there is the Holy Spirit who gives us the strength to do what we need to do. And I agree, like people, they want to just, I don't know, take you down.
Yep.
They want to project on you. And I just don't allow it. And I think like that's something that Joe and I have said to other couples with marriage too. Just don't allow that feedback in your life. Don't allow that negativity, and show people like it can be different. It can be messy and it can have struggles and you can have like really hard moments, but you can have a life that is full of joy and full of hope. And that is the same thing with motherhood. And I absolutely think that it's in the same vein, those two topics, because people they feel like they have to bring you down a peg or two. It's like, nope, I don't accept that narrative. And, people are waiting for, marriage too. It's a whole thing. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry that that's how it is for you. But,
right.
I put in the work.
Exactly. And I'm choosing
work.
to love my spouse. I'm choosing to make certain things a priority. And it's like every time, like we're so happy and we're going on dates. Oh, just wait until the honeymoon phase is over. Okay, well, I'm not going to wait. I'm sorry you waited until the honeymoon phase was over, but I'm choosing to keep. It's not a phase. This is a lifestyle we're choosing to have.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree. We get the exact same thing. And I'm glad that you acknowledged it. And it's true. Like it's a choice.
Yep.
This stuff is a choice.
It
Like
is.
having sex with your husband after 20 years of marriage is a choice.
Yep.
And all of those things that people say is going to end, that's a projection of their own life and their own experience. And so it's been really beautiful with a new baby to see that, like, man, I could spend my day feeling sorry for myself. And I absolutely have moments where that creeps in. And I, like Joe goes on a hunt and I'm home for the weekend with the baby. And I'm like, what the heck, man? Like, I should be out hunting too, like stuff like that. There's moments where I'm like, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
And then I get to choose, like, no, this is great. I'm loving this. Look at this baby. Wow.
You get one-on-one
also,
time.
Thank God I can have a baby.
Yep.
And like be thankful for that. Like there will always be someone whose situation is worse than yours.
Yep.
And there will always be someone who wishes to God that they had what you have.
Yep.
So man, be grateful for it. And soak it up.
Well said. Absolutely well said. Well, to wrap up this episode, part 3, concluding this series, Ariel, I want to ask you if you can pray for moms who are in the new mom life, and they could be in the new mom life for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th time. Struggling moms who are just in a rut, for women who are desiring to be a mom and that's just not their reality right now. And for women who are scared because of the cultural lies that are out there and they're fearful that they've pushed off motherhood. So to conclude this episode, wrap up this series, I just pour your heart out in prayer, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Father, thank you so much for just your goodness in our lives. God, thank you that we even get to have this conversation. God, thank you so much for making me a mom and for bringing Darius into my life, Lord. God, I pray for every gal who has listened to this podcast. Father, whatever their situation is, I pray for the moms. Darius is praying too. God, I pray for the women who are waiting to be a mom. Father, that you would hear their pain and their cries, God, and that you would be so near to them in this moment. And God, that you would bring them the baby that they're praying for in the right time, if it's your will, Father. I pray for the women who maybe aren't struggling while they wait to be a mom, but they are choosing to wait and it's something down the road. God, I just pray that they would continue to prepare themselves, to surround themselves with people who are full of joy and positivity about motherhood. God, that you would bring positive voices into their lives as they prepare for that next season. And God, I pray for the women who are struggling right now as mamas, the new moms, the moms who've been moms for a long time. God, I just pray for your grace and your peace to just surround them in this moment. Lord, that they would cry out to you with what they're struggling with, Lord, and that they would feel your comfort, and that they would also feel a sense of hope come over them, God, that tomorrow is a new day, that they are not a failure, Father, that they are your child. God, that you see them, you see their struggles as a mama, and you are proud of them, and you are fighting for them. You want them to be good moms. You want them to have good relationships with their babies, and that you are for them. God, you're not judging them. You're not criticizing them. You're for them. So God, I pray that they would remember that. They would remember that they have the Holy Spirit within them, and that they have God fighting for them. Lord, we just thank you for the gift of motherhood. We thank you that this this is a joy. This is an honor, God, that we get to partner with you in raising babies to love you and to take care of and love other people for the rest of their lives. God, I pray that every woman who decides to be a mama or is a mom already, God, I pray that they would feel such an intense sense of purpose and calling in their season of motherhood. God, that they would feel this sense of fulfillment and joy that they are doing what no one else can do. They are mothering the child that you gave them. And that is their special, unique, and beautiful calling that you set up before they were even born. God, you ordained this time. So God, we love you. We trust you in motherhood. We trust you with our babies or our babies yet to come, God, that you have already prepared the way for them, God, that you already know our babies, that you love our babies more than we can ever imagine, God. You love them so much more than we could love them, which is so hard to wrap my mind around, God, but your love is so great and so infinite, and you hold our babies in your hands, and you are for us. And we have so much grace. So Jesus, we love you. Darius has had it. Amen.
Amen. That wraps up this series. Thank you so much, Ariel and Darius, for being a part of Mom Life, New Mom Life, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, and for all the wisdom, your transparency, and just being so honest, so raw with your story, your walk through motherhood, the birthing process, and after. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Greatly appreciate you
taking the time for this and being patient with my crying baby. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you, Vashti.
Absolutely. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining me on Post Blog. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like button, follow button, share button, all the buttons to stay connected on the Post Blog podcast. Same time, same place next week. I love y'all. But remember, God loves you most.